Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm Shuhaida Arifin and you're watching Updates at Noon. Our leading stories. Government to expand on MAD 4IR scope and functions. Special flight ticket prices for IPTA students to be announced soon. Malaysia is against any form of violence or harsh treatment against civilians, said Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Zamri Abdul Kadir in responding to Myanmar military junta's deadly airstrike on a village gathering organised by what the junta claimed as its insurgent opponents. Expressing Malaysia's concern, Datuk Seri Zamri said Indonesia, as ASEAN chair this year, has alerted Malaysia about the current development in Myanmar.
Malaysia, for example, of course, we are against any form of, form of bombardment, whatever is taking place now in Myanmar. That is the position of ASEAN as a whole, because we are, subject to 5-point consensus.
The minister said this in a press conference after hosting an iftar with Wisma Putra staff and diplomatic corps. According to media reports, Myanmar's military said it carried out a deadly attack on a village gathering it claimed was organised by insurgent opponents this week. And if civilians were also killed, it was because they were being forced to help the terrorists. At least 100 people, including children, were killed and dozens injured in a horrific aerial attack by junta forces on civilians in Pazigi village in Kinabalu township in the Sagaing region of Myanmar on Tuesday. The junta jets dropped bombs and attack helicopters fired machine guns on more than 100 people gathered in the village for the inauguration ceremony of a local civilian administration office. The junta then, later on the same day, launched a second round of aerial attacks on the village as people were attempting to locate and identify the dead. In conjunction with the event, Datuk Seri Zamri also presented a contribution totaling 561,996 ringgit, or about $124,179 from the Humanitarian Trust Fund for the People of Palestine, AAKRP, to the Palestinian Ambassador to Malaysia, Walid Abu Ali. Out of the total, $50,000 was contributed to Al-Aqsa Mosque through the Ministry of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs of Jordan. A sum of $30,000 was presented to the Ministry of Education of Palestine for solar system facilities to 2 schools in West Bank, a joint collaboration project between the Malaysian Embassy in Jordan and the Education Ministry of Palestine. The AAKRP, established in 2002 under Section 9 of Financial Procedure Act, is mandated to channel funds from the public to the Palestinian people. Thus far, more than 20 million ringgit has been channeled to Palestinians through various projects and initiatives. The scope of the National Council of Digital Economy and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, MAD 4IR, will be expanded to ensure that Malaysia is able to provide sound policies and aspects of implementation so that the digital economy can be enjoyed by all. Minister of Communications and Digital Fahmi Fazil said this was agreed upon yesterday's cabinet meeting, as the scope and function of MAD 4IR were previously quite limited.
Jadi kita telah putuskan bahawa kita akan kembangkan skop itu bukan hanya untuk meneliti aspek-aspek dasar polisi, tapi juga untuk berusaha untuk menyelesaikan perkara-perkara yang praktikal dan masalah yang ditimbulkan oleh pihak industri sebagai contoh, kerana majlis ini mengumpulkan sejumlah menteri, dan bila kita sebut ekonomi digital, dia melibatkan bukan satu kementerian tapi pelbagai. maka Majlis Ekonomi Digital dan 4IR ini mampu menyediakan satu ruang bagi kementerian-kementerian yang terlibat dalam ekonomi digital untuk menyelesaikan sesuatu isu itu secara bersama.
Speaking during the ministry's monthly assembly and breaking a fast event, Fahmi said that the MAD 4IR will be chaired by Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli, and Fahmi is one of the members of the council. Fahmi said today's digital economy landscape is growing rapidly and requires a new strategy to remain relevant in the improving country's economic recovery. Therefore, the function of the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation (MDEC) will be enhanced, including through several programs. The Ministry of Education (MOE) will expand the Sekolah Bimbingan Jalinan Kasih (SBJK) concept to other states, especially Sabah and Sarawak, to provide formal education to street and marginalised children. Minister Fadlina Siddiq said SBJK provides children who are facing social problems, school dropouts and orphans, as well as those without documents with better access to education.
InsyaAllah Datuk melihat mungkin dalam jangka masa panjang, melihat untuk membuat perluasan konsep sekolah ini kepada di beberapa negeri yang lain lah, seperti Sabah dan Sarawak, mungkin juga negeri-negeri lain yang juga mempunyai isu-isu seperti inilah, khususnya yang terkait rapat dengan tanpa dokumen dan juga golongan rentan.
The minister was speaking after the Santunan Kasih Iftar ceremony at SBJK in Kuala Lumpur last night. Earlier, Fadlina handed over a replica of a key to SBJK Senior Administrative Assistant Muhammad Zafrul Abdullah in a symbolic gesture of opening the school's Phase 1 academic building. She added a total of 21 million ringgit has been allocated for the two phases of the school's development, with 13 million ringgit to build academic building in Phase 1 and 8 million ringgit to develop dormitories in Phase 2. Prasarana Malaysia Berhad will implement a new Key Performance Indicator (KPI) system that aims to monitor and ensure better maintenance of light rail transit (LRT) and mass rapid transit (MRT) systems. Transport Minister Anthony Loke said the KPI is called Mean Kilometres Between Failures (MKBF) is an approach that will be used to assess the stability and journey of trains before damage occurs, and it has also been implemented in several countries. He said the KPI, which is open, will be displayed and updated monthly on Prasarana's website and social media for public information and evaluation starting next month.
Katakan kerana Jaya Line 150,000. So kita nak tengok improvement by stages. So saya harap akhir tahun ini saya boleh laporkan 200,000. Katakan kalau 150,000 meningkat menjadi 200,000. Ada peningkatan. So every year we are looking at to see every quarter, in fact kita nak tengok perubahan.
Speaking after breaking of fast ceremony with Prasarana staff last night, Loke said the target will be achieved in stages and is confident that the train services will improve following the addition of new coaches in August. He said, in addition, reports on the number of passengers, ride factor, escalator and elevator facilities will also be publicly displayed through weekly reports on the same platform. Meanwhile, Loke revealed that the government will announce the special flight ticket prices for students at institutions of higher learning IPTA soon. He said this involves students from Sabah and Sarawak furthering their studies in the peninsula, as well as those from Peninsula studying in Sabah and Sarawak. He said despite the increase in the number of flights and larger aircraft capacity, it still could not meet the high demand. Coming up, Perak to improve facilities in Tanjung Malim's high-tech valley for China's investments. Stay tuned. The Perak government, through the Lands and Mines Office (PTG), always takes steps to rectify weaknesses and improve on recommendations provided by the National Audit Department regarding the issue of Malay Reserve land in the state. State Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Sakrani Muhammad said the issue received attention as the ownership of some land was found to have changed, while the status of Malay Reserve land remained unchanged.
Yang ni di luar kawan PTG, sebab PTG dia bukan boleh kawal orang jual syarikat. PTG hanya boleh kawal orang jual tanah. Tahu? Berlakulah beberapa peristiwa di mana asalnya tanah itu dimiliki oleh sebuah syarikat Bumi Putra. Kemudian bila status syarikat itu bertukar kepada bukan bumi, tapi harta itu masih lagi harta reserve Melayu.
It was reported recently that the Malaysian International Humanitarian Organisation sent a memorandum urging the National Audit Department to give recommendations to the PTG of Perak to return Malay Reserve land. Elaborating, Datuk Sakrani said the PTG had continuously taken initiatives to improve the Malay Reserve land empowerment policy in the state of Perak and even tried to increase the percentage of Malay Reserve land. In another matter, Datuk Sakrani said the state government will provide and improve facilities and infrastructure in the Automotive High-Tech Valley AHTV in Tanjung Malim to welcome China's automotive investments in the location. The Menteri Besar said among those planned included building more affordable houses and a new school following the relocation of the entire operations of Proton from Shah Alam to Tanjung Malim by 2027.
Kita kena menyediakan ruang ataupun kawasan untuk perindustrian, termasuk vendors. Tapi pada waktu yang sama kita kena membuat persiapan untuk menerima kehadiran kebanjiran pekerja-pekerja ni, maknanya housing. Jadi lembaga perumahan Perak pun telah turun untuk lihat bagaimana kita nak menyediakan rumah yang mencukupi. Kita dah minta Kementerian Pelajaran dan Proton City bersedia untuk menyediakan tapak, tapi Kementerian Pelajaran akan come out dengan perbelanjaan untuk membina sekolah dan juga menghantar guru-guru yang mencukupi.
A total of 32.5 billion ringgit investment was received involving the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation (MOSTI) as a result of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's recent visit to China. The total investment includes 2 Chinese companies through automotive company Geely for electric vehicles EV and DC Sciences Company Limited DCS involving data centers. The Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah yesterday joined members of the Malaysian Armed Forces MAF to break fast at Khalid Al-Walid Mosque in Kuala Lumpur. Al-Sultan Abdullah, accompanied by the Raja Pemaisuri Agong Tunku Haja Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandariah, arrived at 6:40 p.m. for the ceremony. Their Majesties were received by Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan and Chief of Defence Forces General Tan Sri Effendi Buang. Also present were Air Force Chief General Tan Sri Muhammad Ashkar Khan Goriman Khan, Army Chief General Datuk Sri Muhammad Abdul Rahman and Navy Chief Admiral Datuk Abdul Rahman Ayub. In a speech at the event, Tan Sri Effendi expressed his gratitude for the concern shown by both Their Majesties towards member of MAF. Al-Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah also consented to present donations to 50 orphans, MAF widows as well as civil servants of the ministry and later perform Maghrib prayers with congregants before departing the venue. On the foreign front, Brazil clamps down on social media after recent school attacks. North Korea fired a ballistic missile Thursday, prompting Japan to briefly issue a seek shelter warning to residents of the northern Hokkaido region. South Korea's military said it had detected one ballistic missile with a medium range or longer fired from the Pyongyang area at 7:23 a.m. local time. The missile was fired on a lofted trajectory and flew 1,000 kilometers before landing in the East Sea, referring to the body of water also known as the Sea of Japan. The Joint Chiefs of Staff said South Korean and the US intelligence are analysing the specifics, adding they were maintaining utmost readiness through close coordination with the United States. Japanese officials earlier confirmed the missile had not fallen within the country's territory and posed no threat to residents. The launch is the latest in a string of manned weapons tests conducted by Pyongyang, which has already fired several of its most powerful intercontinental ballistic missiles this year. It has also tested what its state media has claimed are nuclear-capable underwater drones, which it says are capable of unleashing a radioactive tsunami. Syria's foreign minister arrived in Saudi Arabia on Wednesday on first such trip since the outbreak of the Syrian civil war in 2011. According to the statement from the Saudi Foreign Ministry, Foreign Minister Faisal Mekdad flew into Jeddah after an invitation from his Saudi counterpart. The statement also read, both governments will hold sessions of talks on efforts to reach a political solution to the Syrian crisis that preserves the unity, security and stability of Syria. The foreign minister will also discuss facilitating the return of Syrian refugees to their homeland and securing humanitarian access to the affected areas in Syria. Mekdad arrives 2 days before 9 Arab countries gather in Jeddah on Friday to discuss allowing President Bashar al-Assad's Syrian government to attend an Arab League summit next month. Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesperson Majid Al-Ansari said ministers and top officials from the 6 Gulf Cooperation Council countries, Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and Egypt, Iraq and Jordan have been invited to the summit. Assad has visited the UAE and Oman this year, and last month Saudi Arabia said it has started talks with Damascus about resuming consular services. Brazil's government on Wednesday announced new restrictions on social media aiming to curb an epidemic of violent school attacks 1 week after a hatchet-wielding assailant killed 4 children. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's Justice Minister, Flávio Dino, said that websites will be ordered to take steps to ban content and users who are promoting or supporting attacks or violence against schools. Social media companies will also be required to send data to police on all users sharing violent content and block users who have been banned for sharing violent content from creating new profiles. Platforms that do not comply may be fined up to $2.4 million and possibly have their sites suspended by federal authorities. Last Wednesday, 4 children between 4 and 7 years old were killed in a preschool in Blumenau, a city in southern Santa Catarina state, when a man carrying a hatchet stormed the facility. The murders shocked the South American county, where the 2 other attacks on school, neither with fatalities, occurred on Monday and Tuesday. The Federal Prosecutor's Office asked Twitter on Tuesday to disclose the measures the social media giant is taking to reduce content related to inciting violence against schools. Juul, an American electronic cigarette company, agreed to pay $462 million to 6 states and the Districts of Columbia to settle charges that it violated numerous laws in marketing tobacco products to youth. The agreement, announced by prosecutors from New York, California, and 4 other states, follows an earlier $438.5 million Juul settlement with 34 different U.S. states and marks the latest black mark on the company. New York Attorney General Letitia James sued Juul in November 2019, alleging the company glamorized smoking, devised fruity, sweet and minty flavors meant to appeal to youth and misled consumers about the safety of its products. According to a press release from James' office, the settlement will fund underage vaping abatement programs while also adding restrictions on products sold at stores and imposing age verification requirements online. Juul also is barred from marketing to young people, cannot provide free samples to consumers, and must undertake regular retail compliance checks at some stores. The other states joining the settlement are Colorado, Illinois, Massachusetts, and New Mexico. Up next in sports, Madrid snooze Chelsea in first leg quarter-final meeting. Kelantan's new coach Frank Bernhardt's facing hard road ahead as he will be sacked from the Super League team if Kelantan lose 5 matches in a row. Owner Norizam Tukiman took the stance following the club's defeat to Selangor last Sunday. Bernhardt, who was originally appointed as the Red Warriors technical director 2 weeks ago, was asked to take charge of the team after South Korean coach Choi Moon-sik was rested last week. Norizam said that he will not hesitate to sack Bernhardt if he fails to achieve his KPI, key performance indicator. The KPI set for Bernhardt is that the team must not lose 5 matches in a row. Bernhardt's first match as Kelantan coach with less than 3 days of preparation ended up in a 3-0 loss to Selangor at MBPJ Stadium last Sunday. Kelantan are now second last in the 14-team Super League after 1 win, 1 draw and 6 losses. Moving to UEFA Champions League news, AC Milan took a step towards their first Champions League semi-final appearance for 16 years as Ismail Benazir's goal earned them a 1-0 win over Napoli in the quarter-final first leg at San Siro this morning. Serie A leaders Napoli's first European clash with 7 times European champions Milan was their first appearance in the quarter-finals of Europe's most prestigious club competition. Attempting to avenge their 4-0 home defeat by Milan in Serie A this month, Napoli began pressing immediately. Midfielder Piotr Zelenski fired in a thunderous effort on goal. However, Milan keeper Mike Magnan tipped it over the crossbar. Milan's first opportunity came from Fort Rafael Leo, who took the ball in his own half and made a solo run into the Napoli box before shooting just past the far post. Although Napoli dominated most of the first half, the host took the lead 5 minutes before the interval when Brahim Diaz teed up Benazir, who struck a low shot inside the far post. Napoli's situation worsened 16 minutes from the time when midfielder Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa received a second yellow card for pushing Theo Hernandez. Milan are the only team to beat Napoli more than once this season in all competitions, ahead of the second leg of the quarter-final on 18 April. In Santiago Bernabeu, defending champions Real Madrid handily beat Chelsea 2-0 in the Champions League quarter-final first leg this morning. Chelsea started strong under new caretaker manager Frank Lampard, with João Felix and Raheem Sterling going close early on, only to be thwarted by Madrid goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois playing against his former club. However, the host grew into the game and went ahead just after 20 minutes when Karim Benzema pounced on a loose ball in front of a goal and rolled it into an open net following Kepa Arrizabalaga deflection of Vinicius Jr. shot. Madrid had 8 shots on goal in the opening half, and Chelsea will have likely been happy to limp into the dressing room trailing only 1-0 at the break. Carlo Ancelotti's side continued to look far stronger than their Premier League opposition as the second half began, and Chelsea's job became even harder when Ben Chilwell was shown a straight red card after he hauled down Rodrigo from behind in the 60th minute. The one-way action became even more pronounced, and Madrid soon had their second when substitute Marco Asensio lashed home a shot from the top of the penalty in the 71st. In the end, the Londoners failed to score for a 4th match in a row, 3 of them in the Premier League, their longest barren run since 1993. Europa League specialists Sevilla travel to Old Trafford to take on Manchester United in the first leg of the quarter-final tomorrow. The Andalusian outfit have endured a disappointing season, hovering just above the relegation zone in La Liga. New manager Jose Luis Mendilibar, the club's third this season after the sacking of Julen Lopetegui and Jorge Sampaoli, insists his side's pedigree in the competition means they can never be written off even against a Manchester United side who are the favourite to win the competition.
Yo estoy convencido que ellos también nos respetan a nosotros porque la historia del Sevilla de esta competición es grande, o es el más grande igual, ¿no? Entonces, por eso te digo que antes de llegar aquí el club ya ha eliminado a dos buenos equipos, estamos a 2 pasos de una posible final y bueno, lo que tenemos que tratar es de pensar en el partido de mañana.
Sevilla last faced Manchester United in the 2019-2020 edition of the Europa League, defeating 2017 champions 2-1 in the semi-finals on their way to lifting a record 6th title. The second league will be played on Seville on 20th April. Daniel Medvedev begins his Monte Carlo Masters campaign with a straight sets win over unseeded Italian Lorenzo Sonego last night. The third seed made an electric start to the campaign after defeating the dangerous free-hitting Sonego 6-3, 6-2. Medvedev was dialed in from the start of his first clay court match of the year. He moved into an early 3-love lead with the help of some delightful early touches at the net, and he stayed typically relentless from the baseline throughout to seal an 89-minute victory. Medvedev, who has lifted hot court trophies in Rotterdam, Doha, Dubai and Miami during his recent red-hot run, moves on to a third-round showdown against Alexander Zverev at the ATP Masters 1000 event. Meanwhile, 6th seed Holger Rune of Denmark rose past wildcard Dominic Thiem to win Monte Carlo opener 6-2, 6-4, marking his triumphant return to clay court. Making his third appearance in Monaco, Rune is through to the last 16 for the first time. He was beaten by Casper Ruud in each of the past 2 editions of the event, losing in the opening round of his 2021 debut and in the second round last season. The 19-year-old will face Matteo Berrettini on Thursday, seeking his second ATP Masters 1000 quarter-final and first since he won the Rolex Paris Masters last November. Jannik Sinner advanced to the third round at the Rolex Monte Carlo Masters when Diego Schwartzman was forced to retire with a shoulder injury. The Italian, who reached the quarterfinals in Monte Carlo last year, produced a ruthless performance in his first clay court appearance of the season. He overpowered the Argentine with his flat ground strokes and committed just 6 unforced errors before Schwartzman was forced to retire, with Sinner leading 6-love 3-1 after 38 minutes. And with that, we reach the end of today's updates at noon. In our top story today, government looking to expand the National Council of Digital Economy and the 4th Industrial Revolution scope and functions. Don't forget to tune in to our new bulletin, Malaysia Tonight, at 8:30 p.m. available on saluran Berita RTM. You could also stream it live via RTM's Clipboard site and mobile app. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Thank you for watching.